Walking with the caretakers of the forest. Walking in a dense Indian forest is nearly impossible without the trusty guidance of nature's most stalwart protectors, the forest guards of the Indian Forest Service. It was a hot summer's day in western India, and we had parked our jeep near a patch of Prosopis juliflora, an invasive shrub that grows throughout the reserve. The air was still, and I could see heat waves rising off the rocky soil. Behind me, our stalwart guide, Mahesh Sahab, was locking his rifle, which he carried slung across his body just in case. The reason? Why, we were in the midst of one of India's most densely populated tiger reserves, where people and big cats lived side by side. An encounter with a tiger or leopard was as common here as sighting a Maruti Suzuki in the roads of Mumbai. Mahesh Sahab was the most dependable person I had ever met. He carried himself with a solemn air that set him apart from the easy attitudes of the younger staff members we came across during safaris and while in the nearby towns. This was a man born to wear his uniform. He began his day at 4:30, well before the sun began to rise, and was out on patrol, his well-worn boots creating impressions in the soil right behind those of the big cats he guarded with his life. When I learned that Mahesh Sahab would be accompanying us on our initial field surveys, I was thrilled. The man was a treasure trove of information, and I couldn't wait to learn about Ranthambore from him. He and our beloved driver Jignesh shared a morbid sense of humor and often sat joking in the cab of the gypsy while I hung on in the back and listened. Both hailed from the same village and were lifelong friends. When Jignesh stopped our jeep near a transect, Mahesh Sahab was the first one out of the vehicle, his sharp eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of movement. Once he had deemed it safe for me, the little Mem Sahab, as he affectionately called me, to step down, I would hop off the back seat and we would start walking the transect. While walking transects, Mahesh Babu was full of stories. He told me the tale of a one-eyed tigress that used to roam the ruins of Khandar Fort, one of our transect sites. He had encountered the tigress multiple times, but neither man nor cat harmed one another. We learned to respect all living things living here in the desert, the man told me, pointing out brightly colored birds even as he spoke. We are people of the land, and wildlife have an equal right to live in peace. His entire attitude towards wildlife in the jungle was one of respect and humility. Once, he held out an arm, preventing me from stepping forward, as a herd of spotted deer crossed the goat path that we were on. We stood silently as the deer trotted by, barely spooked by our presence. Such was the man's intuition that he blended perfectly into his surroundings, teaching me to do the same. This remains one of the most valuable lessons I have learned from my time in the forest. Sadly, few people give forest guards the due credit they deserve. Their lives are certainly not easy. It is a daily job that is often unforgiving. They walk their rounds in the forest day after day, rain or shine, heat or cold. Sometimes they must place their lives on the line while trying to protect humans or wildlife from one another, and oftentimes their passing goes unnoticed by the very people who are able to live their lives peacefully thanks to these guardians of the forest. The next time you go on a safari or visit a national park, take a few minutes out of your exciting visit to salute our forest guards. You can spot them in their army green jeeps patrolling the parks, accompanying your tour bus driver on a safari, or at the forest outposts that you pass along the way. Smile, salute them, and thank them if you can. These brave men and women are the reason our wildlife can live safely within the protected parks that have been set aside for them. We owe them our thanks and respect.